Hi friends, how are you? I hope you are all doing absolutely amazing. Welcome back. I am so excited for today's video. I know, so then why has it taken me so long to make it? Before we get started, I'm going to say or share something in the off chance that somebody needs to hear this. But you know how every day you get up and you do the whole, I'm gonna do this and this and this, and I'm gonna get all this done, and I have all this motivation, and then you go to work and you get home later than you planned on, or you get home and the kids need you, or something came up that somebody forgot about, and then it just doesn't happen, right? And you're like, ugh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then you're like, okay, today I'm going to do this. And then all of a sudden it's like 2 weeks of tomorrows and you still haven't done it. It's okay. You know, I feel like we beat ourselves up all the time. I do. Like every day I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I'd get home and it was like dark outside. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sneak away on my lunch and just get something done. And now here we are at 2 weeks of tomorrows and I am finally doing this video. But just know you are not alone and you can do it and it's okay. I used to be a freaking rock star and I could take care of 8 people's lives. And now I don't even know how I take care of one life on a daily basis, to be really honest. But that's okay, because I'll get there again, right? Like, we all have our moments, and so just know that. Like, you're amazing, you're doing great, so don't stress over the things that you don't get to. You will. It'll be all good. So, we are going to do this 5 tips for your graphgan. And, I actually have been really excited for this, and I have it's not like super crazy things or like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think of that. They're they're so common and logical, but yet at the same time things that I was like, oh, I won't need to do that. And then now that I have started, I do need to do that. So the first one is start simple. And even when you're watching the videos that I linked before and I'll link again, she says start simple. And of course, I did not. And let me show you. This was like her mock-up of the first one that I was gonna do. And I was so excited because it looks so fun, right? Like, I couldn't wait to be able to get through this. And then I started, and I'm gonna show you like the whole deal that I was going through. Now, don't get me wrong, it was really exciting, and it was kind of cool to be able to start to see it all come together in the pictures. But do you see my, okay, so clearly there were some things that I needed to kind of work out, and also counting was not easy like you would think, but you've got to be really meticulous in your counting when you have so many things, to make sure that it's gonna line up all perfectly. And so I kind of put this away and decided that I was going to set it aside for a little while and I would start out a little more simple. And so I did do the pattern of the one that she did for free. The pattern was for free. I will link this one as well. And I did change my colors a little bit, which this is coming up in another tip, but this was so much better. I'm going to show you the bottom, because all you do is start with one solid color, right? And then I just, ugh, I can't even tell you how much more enjoyable this has been. Now, as with, I'm not gonna say, as with like all blankets, as for me, with all blankets, I get really bored of doing like the same stitch, the same color. So it did take me a little while to actually get through this, because I would work on it and then I'd like quit because I wasn't very excited, right? And then as soon as I like got to the fin, then it got exciting, because then I could see what was coming and what I was gonna do. So that's the first tip, is keep it simple. Start simple, right? The second one that I would say is to take advantage of the resources that are given to you. So like I said, on the patterns that I have received, she gives you like this graph, and then she gives you a coloring page. And I did mine, I colored it in with markers as close to the colors of my yarn as possible so I could see exactly what I wanted. So I did the same thing on my turtle, and I'll show you. Okay, so I like put it all together. I figured out what colors I wanted. Actually, it's for my son for Christmas, and I let him pick the colors. So I was like, just randomly pick some colors and I'll let you know if they're gonna go together or not. And he doesn't know what it is. He doesn't know what it's for. And so then I had to figure out how I wanted to do it on my picture. But take advantage of this, because I did about 4 or 5 of these before I decided how I wanted it to go, like the color scheme that I wanted to do. And so that, I say, make sure you take advantage of that. If they have a coloring page, or try and like take the picture and turn it into a coloring sheet and then put in your own colors. And don't be afraid to switch it up and personalize it to exactly what it is that you want to do. So take advantage of the resources that are given to you, or maybe like tweak them just a little bit, so that way it's more individualized. And then I don't know, it just feels like it's like your project. I know that it's your project, you're the one who did all the work on it, but it just makes it feel like it's uniquely your own. So that's the second one. The third one is, I am not a big one on like printing out patterns and keeping track line by line. I'm not a big counter, like stitch counter or row counter. And so if you are that, any tips and tricks that you have to help me be better with that, I am here for it. You please share in the comments down below, and I think that is great. But on this, I do recommend printing it out and keeping track of your rows. Now, as I say this, and I'm looking, and all of these rows are before I added my third color, and I've added my third color, but I can tell that's like on this longer row, which I have not highlighted. So clearly I'm doing really well at this. So, but this is really good, because at least I know I'm only like 1 ahead of, and maybe I just haven't finished that row and that's why I haven't highlighted. We're gonna go with that. I probably just haven't finished the row and that's why I haven't highlighted it yet. But I do highly recommend printing it out or putting it on your tablet or whatever, and at least keeping track of the row that you're on, because it's really easy to get them all mixed up, especially when you're doing when you're having to change it so minusculely, especially if you do like the flower one. I mean, it literally moves it over a stitch or two. And so that's why it's so important to make sure that you're keeping count, but also keep track of your rows. So I recommend printing it out and then highlighting or keeping track of where you are. So there's 3. Number 4, you saw my big old cluster, right? So I did get, and now that I am doing this, I put things on top and I can't find it anymore. Oh yes, here it is. Okay. You saw my big old cluster of yarn and everything, so you want to be able to figure out a way to keep track of all your different yarn. One of the recommendations is to not carry your color along. So if you look here, like where I have this blue and then I have the green, and you know how normally, not normally, but usually you would like just stick your blue underneath and then you'd start it again over on this side. She recommended that you actually use a different skein, right? So you have different rolls of yarn for each of your areas. So you would have like your, like here's a blue, and then you would have one green, and then your yellow, and another blue, and another green, and another blue. So each of these are separate, which is why I got those little bobbins, those little poppy things, and now I just like, oh gosh, why am I having so much trouble? So I did do this, started to, and I tried to use it so that I could show you. I literally have a mess going here. So this is showing you how well this is not working. So while the idea of these I thought was great, as you can see, not so great. This was the largest size that I had found, and this is the, I love my yarn, I love this yarn, and I had already used like half of this skein, and so I was like, oh, I'll just roll the rest of it onto one of these and I'll just save it like that. It didn't go that far, and this is not keeping it very good. Like I said, again, the idea of this I thought was wonderful, right? You just roll your yarn on up and then you just pop over the thing. Like, to me, it reminds me of those little rollers. I just made it so much worse. But, no. So unless you're using really tiny yarn, or if you want to use this for a bunch of little scraps, I would say not worth the money. Not that they were crazy expensive either. They were not. But I think it was like $6.99 for 4 of them. We'll say $8 for 4, so like $2 a piece. It wasn't crazy expensive. I'm sure I paid shipping. I don't recall exactly what that was. But I mean, if it's not gonna do anything for me, then to me, that's a waste of money, right? So I would use, well, first of all, a skein works so much easier than if you wind a hank, right? So this one, I had, this is a wound up hank, can't you tell? It's a cake. I mean, you should be able to see that, right? And like this one's pretty decent. It stayed pretty nice, but I didn't really have a whole lot of control over this. So the skeins, however, keep so much nicer until you get to like the very end, but then it's like not quite so bad. And then I would recommend just make yourself a little cozy, right? And just grab some of your scrap yarn and make a cozy, and then you can just keep it all in there, and then it makes it easier to move your yarn back and forth when you're going from one side to the other side. This is when I wish that I was a left-handed crocheter, or that I could do both right hand and left, because then I could just do like one way and then one the other way, and I would never have to turn my work, because then you would never have to move your yarn around, right? However, not so great. But it's really not so bad with just these few that I have. So like I said, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With the 6, it's really not bad. You don't get this big old tangled mess and everything. But if you are gonna be doing a bunch of them, just make yourself a yarn cozy. And like I said, super simple. You just use your scrap yarn. I made mine just slightly smaller than what I would expect my skein to be, just so that it kind of holds it in a little bit more. And then it's single stitch. I just did single stitch, just did my circle, and then when I got it to the size that I wanted, just in the back loop and on the way up. And then I just kind of like held it. I don't know how I determined how high I went, to be really honest. I have another one which is just a little bit bigger, but you can make these however big you want, however complex, color-wise. Just use some scrap yarn. If you really need me to demonstrate or do a better description of how to do this one, then just let me know in the comments and I will do that for you. But I know that these are all over the place, probably on YouTube and like anywhere on the internet. But if that is something that you would like, I would be happy to do that. So this much better option, you probably already have scrap yarn, so it's really like a nothing cost, right? So that would be my tip to you. And then the last one is, don't stress out over this. Like, this is supposed to be something that's enjoyable and fun and just a little bit different and creative. And like I said, I cut into my first one and I was all super excited. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and it's gonna go so great. And I'm gonna be like, look what I made. And oh my gosh, I think I got, how many rows are we into this? Not many. And I was so stressed out. I was like frogging and redoing and trying to recount and ripping out, and it just wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun anymore. And then I was like all super down about it because I had ordered my yarn and I knew exactly what I wanted to do and it wasn't working out. And then I just had to like kind of stop and take a breath and try the other one. And I tell you, you start to see where, I mean, look, what have I done? A piece of a fin, And I was so excited, like to the point where I didn't want to go to sleep. You know, like when you read and you finally get to the good part and you don't want to go to sleep because you just want to finish the book. That's how I felt about this. I was like, I just got to keep on going. But then I had to go to bed because I knew I had to go to work the next day. But that's it. Don't stress over it. Enjoy it. All of these things should be, which is where I am getting with all the Christmas ideas where you're like, I'm gonna make something for everybody. Don't stress out. So those are my 5 tips for your graphgan. And if you do decide to do one, please let me know. Like, tag me or send me a picture, or even if you just need to vent, or you're having a hard time, or you just need that person that you need to tell, oh, I've been trying to get to that, I am here for you. So feel free to message me anytime. I love your comments. I read all of them. I try to reply. I was doing so good for a while. See, I was doing so good for a while, and then it's like, I don't even know. I don't even know. But that's okay, because I'm going to get there again, and I cannot wait to see what you guys are all working on, and I will see you all next week. Next week. I am doing another video next week. Bye.